The Chevrolet Traverse was supposed to be refreshed for the 2021 model year, but hey, 2020 hasn't gone as planned for almost anybody, including General Motors. So for this video, with this 2021 Chevrolet Traverse High Country, I'm going to show you everything that you get with it, take it for a test drive, and help you decide whether or not you should go for the 2022 model, which does have some changes and some new features, or go for this 2021 model. Now this High Country trim is the top trim level for the Traverse. I also have a video of the 2018 Premier model, which is just one notch down. But for 2022, it will be coming out as a 2022 model at the end of 2021. That refreshed model will have a redesigned front and rear fascia with new head and tail lights that are going to be newly standard as LED, plus some new wheel designs as well. There are some other features, including on the inside, that I'll show you a little bit later, but let's take a look at the exterior details. Now let's take a look at the exterior details on this High Country. Now this High Country is definitely kind of big, bold, and shiny with its big, bright grille. You have LED headlights and LED daytime running lights curling underneath that headlight, but you just got halogen turn signals. So that's a little bit interesting, especially for a vehicle this expensive. You got chrome around the fog lights, and those fog lights are actually halogen. So you got the yellow halogen paired with the white LED. Looks kind of funny, but halogen actually works well in the winter time for snow and ice. But would you rather have LED? Let me know below. Now coming over here, the Traverse gives us 20-inch wheels on this High Country. Big, bright, shiny, 20-inch polished alloy wheels. You also have Traverse written on the side, chrome molding down below, chrome door handles, and chrome window trim, as well as your chrome roof rack. The mirrors though are body color. They have turn signals in them. They're also automatic dimming on the driver's side, so that's nice at night. Blind spot indicator in there. They can tilt down in reverse, this one or the passenger side. They just don't automatically fold. So this color is called Black Cherry Metallic. It's a very dark, deep purpley color, and it's kind of bold. It's different than what you see on many of today's vehicles that are black, white, or gray. The Traverse is also 204 inches long, which is several inches longer than many of its competitors, and that is very evident when we start to look at the cargo space. And then as we come around to the back, the Traverse is going to give us an upright rear end, a different pillar design than most of the foreign models. You have LED taillights, Traverse all-wheel drive badge, High Country badge, more chrome back here. So a lot of chrome on this High Country, dual exhaust outlets, then you've got the red LED blinker. Now as we take a look at the cargo area, this High Country trim gives us the hands-free lift gate, where at night there will actually be a Chevy emblem on the ground where you have to just put your foot for the hands-free access. And then it will open up for you to your desired height. There's a button to close it up there, as well as a handle, so you can lower it down pretty easily. And then back here, there's actually really good space. This is one reason that you would want to get the Traverse or the Buick Enclave, because they are leaders in this segment for cargo space overall. A couple of bonuses is that there are 4 tie downs just behind the third row. You've got 2 here on the other side as well, 12-volt power outlet. Then you can even power fold these seats. There's also a hidden little storage area. Actually, it's a pretty big storage area. There's a lot of space back here, and it's all plastic, so you can get it wet and dirty. And there's even a spare tire standard with the Traverse. But let's go ahead and fold those seats down, push and hold the button. And I've got that seat too far back. Let's go with this one. The headrest will automatically fold. And there we go, seatbelt got in the way. But when you get that down, you get closer to 60 cubic feet behind this second row, which is very impressive. Definitely a lot of space, and it's really nice and flat, as you can see. And then in order to fold the second row down, you have to actually go to the second row, pull a lever to fold it down, but then you get a ton of overall space. In fact, from that first row all the way back to the beginning of the cargo area, there is about 90 inches total. So you could camp back here, you could put some long, big items back here. Definitely one of the big pros to this Chevy Traverse. Now under the hood, nothing changes. This High Country is going to come standard with Chevrolet's 3.6 liter V6, naturally aspirated, no turbo, and it gives you 310 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque, paired with the 9-speed automatic transmission. Those numbers are good for this class and on par with what everything else has. Plenty of power for this size of a vehicle. Miles per gallon is not bad. It's definitely better with front wheel drive, which it comes standard in front wheel drive. This is all-wheel drive, which drops the MPGs. Front-wheel drive will be up to 27 on the highway, but this all-wheel drive model, 17 city and 25 highway. And towing is average for the class, what most of them are at 5,000 pounds. If you really need to tow and towing is a priority, you're probably gonna wanna go for a Tahoe or an actual SUV. For 2022, as far as I know right now, nothing changes under the hood. Now, some of you may be familiar with the auto stop start feature, to where when you're driving, you stop, the engine shuts off automatically. You cannot disable that in this Traverse. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I go into the interior. Now, before I say anything about this 2021 model's front seats, the 2022 model is going to give you all new interior options as opposed to this one. There's not necessarily anything wrong with this 2021 model though. In this high country trim, we get these 10-way power adjustable seats with 2-way lumbar support. They are leather with 2-position memory settings, heating and ventilation. And overall, they are fairly comfortable. I think my only complaint is that they feel a little bit on the stiff side and the bottom is a little bit narrow. But they're still pretty comfortable and I think most of you will enjoy them. And if you have mobility issues, getting into the Traverse is a breeze just because of its height. It's not too high, it's not too low. It's not too bad at all. And the steering wheel is power, tilt, and telescoping. In fact, you can have it set to where your seat can automatically move, the steering wheel can automatically move, because both are power adjustable with memory settings. So you can have the easy entrance and exit system, so everything will move in or out when you get in or out. Aside from being power adjustable, the steering wheel is automatically heated, and so are the seats. So if you do remote start or something, and if it's cold or it's hot, it's going to automatically turn on the ventilation or the heated function or whatever it needs to. And I'm happy to say that the passenger seat gets power adjustable lumbar support. A lot of times passenger seats in non-luxury brands don't get lumbar support, but you do in the Traverse. Now, hopping inside of the Traverse, first of all, with the key fob, you've got the same typical Chevy key fob. This is not the newest updated version like the new Tahoe, but you've got remote start. You can open up your lift gate. You can pull a physical key out of here as well, and that gives us push button start. One other feature with the smart key system is that if you want, when you leave the vehicle, you can have it automatically lock for you, and it will flash, or you can have it beep, so it can automatically lock if you want it to. And the interior, I would say, is one of the main areas where this falls behind some of the newest competitors. The newest competitors just have gotten nicer. They've got good cubbies, they've got nicer materials, bigger screens, just kind of fancier in general. And the 2022 model is a little bit different, but still very similar. I'll tell you a few of the differences with that. Now, first, over on the door, right up above, this is a harder material. I'm a little surprised by that in this top expensive high country trim, but you've got a nice suede-like material here, nice material here. I like the trim piece. It looks good, integrated with your memory settings for your seats. Good size padded armrest. And then only the front driver's window is fully one-touch automatic, but you got a nice little cubby here, practical little area, good bottle holder. You can adjust your cargo lift gate there, and even room for an umbrella, a small umbrella. The steering wheel is comfortable to hold on to. You've got some small sport grips. It is leather wrapped. You've got heated right here. So if you have a heated steering wheel icon right here, then yours has a heated steering wheel. 4-spoke design lets you put your hand down here. And General Motors on this one still has a soft material over all of these buttons, and then audio controls on the back side of the steering wheel. Now, personally, I don't care about this, but one interesting thing is that even in this top high country trim, there's a lot of cheap plastic. You've kind of got a softer material with this brown material here that looks good, and some suede and some more trim over there. But the piano black, shiny black plastic, and then down here, this is just kind of a rickety, cheap plastic feeling on this center console. So that is one big difference compared to some of the newest competitors. Now, as we look straight ahead, first of all, you've got a couple of physical gauges, which I always appreciate, but then you have a small 4.2-inch display. Most vehicles nowadays have like 8-inch or even entire digital displays. So this is a little bit different than, for example, the 2018 Traverse that I showed you. Still have trip computer information, all the necessary vehicle information. music, navigation, and then you can customize your settings here. The 2022 model is going to give you a new 8-inch display up front. And as we move over to this center display, it's an 8-inch touchscreen. And this is not going to change for the 2022 model, but there is one big feature that I think some of you will like. Ours comes standard with regular Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which does work well on here. It takes up the whole screen. But the 2022 model is going to give you wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Aside from that, you do have a couple of physical buttons. I like that we have a home button, seek, actual volume knob with the nice material around it. And check this out. You even have a secret little cubby that has a really nice soft lining on the inside. Now, there used to be a USB port in there, but they got rid of that for whatever reason. But it's a little secret hidden storage bin. This version of General Motors screen works well. Everything is fairly responsive. We have the Bose 10-speaker audio system. When you go to your home screen, you can actually like drag and drop and move stuff around, kind of like you do on a phone home screen. You also have navigation, you have Wi-Fi, 4G LTE Wi-Fi, and check this out. You've got this surround vision camera. This is probably one of my favorite surround vision cameras. You can see top down over the vehicle, you can see in front, you can change all of these views around. Check it out. It's just amazing how well you can see. And if you're in reverse, same kind of thing. You can see behind you, you can see your tire, where that's at. You can even do a hitch line or check out your hitch going behind you like that. Aside from that, we have a regular automatic dimming mirror or a camera. So that's an actual camera in the back of the vehicle where you can see behind you. My only complaint is that that mirror and that camera is actually pretty small, but it is still really nice to have. So for example, if the back of your vehicle is loaded up with stuff, you can still see easily out the back. Down here we actually get dual zone climate control here, but you get a third zone in the back. Got your ventilated seats, heated seats, and easy to use controls where everything is a simple layout. Right below that, the 2018 model still had these couple of USBs, but they were vertical with an auxiliary port, 12-volt power outlet, wireless charging mat, or a little storage bin if you want that. Now up front in the center console, that's the only open little storage area. Aside from the cup holders, I would like to see maybe another little cubby somewhere in here, but it works. Now my bottle fits in here, but if you've watched me do any other General Motors videos, the cup holders are always small and they're fixed. There's one negative to that, is that smaller items or larger items don't accommodate that well. Most drinks will, but the fact that there's an opening right here means you could probably put a mug that has a handle and the handle can go right there. So that's kind of clever. Right down here you get an electronic parking brake. It would be nice to see a brake hold, but you don't have that on here. Traction control, lane keeping system, and then it's automatically going to be in two-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, but you can make it all-wheel drive by turning the dial there. Then you have an off-road or kind of a wet mode and towing hauling mode. One thing you'll notice is you will not find an auto stop start button anywhere to disable that. There's not one for this generation Traverse, which is a real bummer because it does get annoying, but supposedly if you shift all the way down into L and then use this to manually shift up to 9th gear, it won't automatically shut off for you when you're driving, but that's just annoying and ridiculous. Chevy gives you a wide, big center console, and it's long enough. It does not move forward and backwards, but it's long enough to where if you want to rest your elbow and have your hand on the steering wheel, you can. Lift that up. You've got a big tray right here that sits there, or you can move it out of the way, have a couple lights, and a nice big storage area. There's just no extra USB ports in there. The glove box is not lockable, which is a little bit disappointing, but you still have the same material and same storage on the door over there. There's no sunglass holder in here, which is a little bit surprising. You could store it in any number of places like behind the screen, but I'd like to see that or a conversation mirror up here. But you have garage controls right here. You've got LED lighting as well, and we've got the dual sky roof. You can push that and it'll slide back, and then that one, the same exact thing. So you've got a window over there and an actual roof that opens up over here. Now the 2022 model supposedly is going to make that back one a power option, a power shade, to where you can move the shade without having to reach back. There's no different ambient light options in here, but that little wireless charging mat does have some nice gentle glow over it at night. And then visibility wise, the pillar is probably average size, is a little bit large, And as we go ahead and look to the side, not too bad. Kind of a bigger, boxier shape. You've got that third window that's decent size, especially if you move the second row. And then straight out the back, it's not terrible for a 3-row SUV. Now taking a look at the second row, first of all, on the door, you still get some of the same nice material, like this suede, comfortable armrest, nice material here, and a couple little storage areas. You can even put like a square juice box in there or something, storage bin, and storage. So for your backseat passengers or kids, that is very handy. And speaking of kids, I've had a rear-facing car seat back here, and behind myself at 5'9", I've had plenty of space with that. Really nice, big, spacious back seat overall. So for example, with this seat all the way back, look at that. I can pretty much straighten my legs out. That seat obviously is not too terribly far back, but it's similar to where I sit. Lots of space, and you can move these seats forward. So with it all the way up, I still have room and enough foot space to be comfortable. But also check this out. You've got your own climate control back here. So go ahead and hit auto. You can have it automatically be on whatever temperature you set it to. You got heated seats back here. You can change your fan speed. You've got a couple of USB ports, a little storage bin down there, and a 3-prong outlet. So you're good to go for charging ports back here. You also get these folding armrests. They're not ratcheting, but they fold down, so it is extra comfortable with that. You've got a nice view with that roof, and our air conditioning vents are overhead, which is nice because you can kind of directionally move them to your face or point them into a car seat. And headroom, as you can see, is really good. I can sit up tall with no problems, and these seats recline, so definitely very comfortable in the Traverse. The one thing I would like to see though that some other competition has is like a built-in window shade that goes here to where you can lift it and have a window shade there, but neither side gets it. That doesn't come on the Traverse in any of these trims. Now getting into the third row, you can pull this lever, then you do have to give it a little bit of effort to move it, so I don't know if some kids will be able to get that, but once you move that, you've got a lot of space to get into the third row. And then sitting behind this seat with it all the way forward, I've got plenty of knee space. I've got enough foot space, definitely not as much as I would like. You can obviously have your feet there. And with that seat all the way back, there's no way I could sit there. But most people will be able to sit in the second row with it all the way forward and still be comfortable, so your third row passengers will be okay. Each side back here gets an AC vent, just like the roof AC vents up there. You still have LED lighting in the third and second row. Each side also gets a little storage nook, cup holder, and a USB port on both sides. And I should note that this third row is technically a 3-passenger third row, and then you have a 2-passenger middle section with these captain's chairs for 7-passenger total. If you want a bench seat in the middle, you can't get it on the high country trim. You'd have to go down to lower trims in order to get that. And I can sit here without my head touching the roof. I can feel this part coming down, touch my hair a little bit, but headroom is great in all 3 rows. Okay everyone, we are getting going in this Chevrolet Traverse for this test drive. So, first of all, my first impression of the Traverse is that you just sit up higher. It just kind of feels a little more truck-like, a little bit bigger SUV-like than some of the more mainstream crossovers that I've been in recently. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing, it's just kind of personal preference. Usually I move my seat lower in vehicles, but in here I kind of like it in a mid-range, and I've been comfortable in here. Driving the Traverse is very easy, it's pretty smooth. We'll talk about the ride comfort, acceleration and handling, and just kind of day-to-day living and driving the Chevrolet Traverse. Now this first road that we're getting on is a bumpier road. It's got broken pavement, uneven pavement, and it gets a lot of vehicles to jostle around. And I would say for the most part, the Traverse has been pleasing in terms of its ride comfort. I don't know if I could say it's the best. I just got out of the Kia Telluride and it's really hard to compare. I think that was probably just a little bit more comfortable in general. But the Traverse's ride is still good. We have the larger 20-inch wheels on here, which usually lend to a little bit of a stiffer ride, but it's certainly not bad. And I feel like most of you will get in here and be just comfortable for the most part. Now we're just in 2-wheel drive mode. It's a little bit of a delay for the auto stop start to get going. Go ahead and get on it. and it gets you up to speed pretty quick. It's a mostly refined powertrain. It's a little bit of a noisy powertrain at times. Engine noise does get in here, but the 9-speed transmission has been pretty smooth for the most part, which is what you want. You don't really want to notice it in these types of vehicles. I mention that because some of the vehicles I've been in recently have had clunky transmissions. And just for a little bit, I'm going to flip that mirror. Hopefully you can see that. I can see the car behind me quite well. I'll flip it back off. And the brakes in here are pretty good. Vehicle does seem to feel a little bit heavy at times. And now let's go ahead and get on it. Pedal down. And the Traverse has plenty of power. Now, if you have a full vehicle of people, I'm not sure what that's like. I haven't driven it like that, but handling the Traverse, it feels like a bigger vehicle. The body roll is there. It's not terrible, not as bad as some. It's just about average, I would say, in terms of most driving dynamic standards. Now, one thing that I am noticing, and hopefully you can hear, is that there is some wind noise. It's a windier day, but I definitely hear some wind noise. And one thing is that this glass is not the laminated glass. It's not the thick glass. It's just the normal standard glass. So that could lead to part of that. But this does have active noise cancellation, which helps it to be quiet, a quieter vehicle. At least on a rougher textured road on the highway, this was really pretty quiet. So I'm definitely happy with that. I'm able to converse with my wife if she's sitting in the back, or with my daughter, or whatever it may be. It's a quiet vehicle overall. Now, Chevrolet does give you the radar cruise control system. You can turn your cruise on the steering wheel and adjust your distance for your adaptive cruise control with the steering wheel as well. And that works pretty well. I have the lane keeping system active right now too. So I let myself get over and it starts to turn the wheel. This isn't a full lane centering system. As you can see, it'll just kind of ping pong you back and forth. So obviously put your hands on the wheel. But I would say day-to-day driving the Traverse, ride comfort is good. Handling is just fine. Acceleration is on par with the class. Nothing in here is going to blow you away. It's quiet on most road surfaces, but I definitely hear some wind noise right now. I wish there was a little bit more of a cubby storage space down here, but I like the functionality for the most part. The screen, even though it's not big and fancy, it works fine. The graphics work okay. 2022 model is going to have wireless CarPlay, so that's something to keep in mind, and a bigger display here. This one still gives you a lot of information. It's just, you know, probably nobody's favorite though. Now as we get on a rougher textured road, you can probably hear some of that road noise, but it's not bad. Like I said, it's actually quite good on this type of a road surface. Now, hopefully you could kind of hear the powertrain accelerate there. Mostly smooth. Now, let's go ahead and close out this test drive and wrap things up. So to wrap things up on this 2021 Chevrolet Traverse, is the 2022 model enough to make you want to wait for that one? I honestly don't think that they've done enough for that 2022 model, especially with the interior. I think the interior is one of the biggest areas that Chevrolet and General Motors in general has been lacking recently. Either way, you'll get a very spacious, very comfortable, and well-rounded family vehicle with 3 rows. So leave your thoughts down below. Which one would you go for, 2021 or the 2022 refresh? Leave your comments on this High Country trim as well. Subscribe for weekly reviews. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Have a great day.